that discussion?
Well, what I've seen in the last few years is putting the fine-tuning in a redemptive context. And that was kind of where the book Improbable Planet got started. I've been teaching a Sunday school class on science and faith for 44 years now, and I always use them to experiment. And so we went through the major creation texts in the Bible. Every single one of them links the doctrine of creation to the doctrine of redemption. And so what I'm now doing with my secular peers is saying, if you will do your scientific research from a biblical redemptive perspective, I'm not asking you to believe it, I'm just asking you to test it. Do your research from a biblical redemptive experience or perspective and see if that doesn't make you a more successful scientist. And it's kind of a new way I'm using to try to get them introduced to the Christian faith. And the whole principle is this: every component of the universe, Earth, and Earth's life, and every event that takes place in the history of the universe, Earth, and Earth's life plays a role in making possible the redemption of billions of human beings in a relatively short period of time. And so as a research scientist, I would say just kind of use that as your modus operandi and see if that doesn't make you a better scientist.
Okay, but I'm not sure if that's the question I asked.
Oh, sorry.
But the question was, what progress have you seen in acceptance of intelligent design among scientists?
Well, I meant to make that link, is that
Okay.
when my peers see that the redemptive thing works, it makes them much more receptive.
Okay.
I'm actually using this as an evangelistic strategy.
Okay.
In other words, put this to the test. If it makes you a better scientist, maybe you better look at what the Bible's got to say about your life.
Okay.
So,
I just wanted to be clear that was the link that you were.
oh yeah, that's
Okay.
everything I do is from an evangelistic perspective.
I know that. Yeah.
Can I ask a question, Bob?
Go ahead. I'm not going to.
For an example of how that plays out?
Well, you'll see that probably in the book Improbable Planet, where I basically make the point, if you've got a God that wants to redeem billions of human beings, what does the universe have to look like? What does the earth have to look like? I mean, basically make the point. I mean, we've never had an ice age cycle before in the entire 4.5 billion year history of the earth. Why do we have one now? Well, you're not going to redeem billions of human beings unless you have an ice age cycle. So God on purpose built that into Earth's history, because that was his ultimate plan. He created the universe so that he could redeem billions of people unto himself.
So that we could flourish,
right?
And God could do his work in us.
Well, for example, a lot of this fine-tuning we see, if it wasn't for that fine-tuning, you wouldn't have billions of people living here at one time. Maybe you could have 1 million, but not billions. And that's all based on a verse you see in Revelation, that the host of the redeemed will be uncountable. If it's uncountable, it's got to be at least in the billions.